Hey there, so glad you could join me. Throughout our lives, we have these big ceremonies to mark the most important moments, right? Births, weddings, even funerals. But today, we're going to explore a single, beautiful act that somehow wraps up the meaning of all three. We're talking about baptism, and trust me, it's so much more than you might think.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like the beginning of a riddle, doesn't it? A funeral, a birthday, and a wedding. Well, what they all share is that they are these huge turning points. They mark a massive change from one way of life to a completely new one. And that idea, that powerful idea of transformation, is exactly where we need to start to understand what baptism is all about.
All right, so let's jump into the first part of this, and honestly, it might be the most surprising one. The first meaning of baptism is that it's a funeral. Yep, a funeral. It's this incredibly meaningful moment where we intentionally say goodbye to our past, to the person we were before.
So, what do we mean by the old self? I think deep down, we all know what this feels like. It's that part of us that's focused on me, the part that knows what the right thing is, but still struggles. The Bible has a name for this gap, this distance between who we want to be and who we sometimes are. It calls it sin. And baptism is about lovingly, gently laying that part of us to rest for good. And this is where the water becomes so powerful. Going down into the water is a physical picture of a burial. It's that moment of completely letting go, of allowing that old life with all its mess and mistakes to just be washed away and left behind in that watery grave.
Looking at it side by side really makes it clear, doesn't it? We're moving from a life all about us to a life centered on God. We're going from being defined by our mistakes to being defined by His forgiveness. And here's the absolute best part. This isn't something we earn. Not at all. It's a gift. It's pure grace, and it's possible only because we're choosing to say yes to what Jesus did for us.
But see, a funeral is never the end of the story. Never. Right as we lay the old to rest, something brand new is ready to be born. And that's the second amazing meaning of baptism. It isn't just an ending, it is a joyful beginning. It is a birthday for the rest of your life. This verse just says it perfectly. Coming back up out of that water is a picture of resurrection. It's your birth into a whole new reality. This isn't just about trying harder or turning over a new leaf. No, this is about getting a whole new life. It's like your soul gets a complete system reboot. You are, in that very moment, a new creation. It's incredible. And this is something we really need to remember. Baptism isn't the finish line. Oh no, it's the starting line. And just like any newborn baby, this new spiritual life is delicate. It needs to be cared for, it needs to be fed, it needs to be nurtured so it can grow up strong and healthy.
So how do we do that? How do we nurture this new life? Well, it really comes down to two really simple things: spiritual food and spiritual breath. The Bible, Scripture, that's our food. It nourishes us as we get to know God's heart better. And prayer, that's our breath. It's that constant conversation that keeps our relationship with Him alive and real, day in and day out.
Okay, so we've talked about a funeral for the past and a birthday for the future. But this whole transformation, it doesn't just happen by yourself. And that brings us to the third and final piece of this amazing puzzle. Baptism is about relationship. It's the moment you enter into a sacred promise, a vow for eternity. Think for a moment about the most powerful promise two people can make. At a wedding, those two simple words, I do, they seal a lifelong commitment of love. In that same way, baptism is our I do to God. It's our joyful public yes to His incredible unconditional love for us. This special word for this kind of promise is covenant. You see, a contract is usually about, if you do this, I'll do that. But a covenant is all about a promise of love and faithfulness no matter what. It is a relationship. When we are baptized, we are saying, I am yours. And in His amazing grace, God says right back to us, and you are mine. And you know what? You're not making this promise alone, not by a long shot. The very moment you say, I do to God, you are welcomed into the biggest, most wonderfully diverse family on the entire planet, the family of believers. You get a Father in heaven, a big brother in Jesus, and literally millions of brothers and sisters to do this journey with you. So let's just pull all these incredible threads together. This one act, this one moment of baptism, is a funeral for everything that's behind you, a birthday for everything ahead of you, and a vow of love that lasts forever. It's the moment your new story really truly begins. So we bury the old, we start the new, and we commit to this amazing relationship of love. 3 different layers that all come together to create one of the most powerful and beautiful moments you can ever experience. And if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Baptism is not a graduation. It's not the end of a process. It is the very first page of the most incredible story. It's a beautiful, life-changing turning point that kicks off a lifelong adventure of growing and walking with God every single day.
So whether you're thinking about this for the very first time, or maybe you were baptized a long, long time ago, I just want to invite you to think about this threefold story: a funeral for the past, a birth for the future, and a promise of eternal love. And really, the only question that's left is this: are you ready for your new story to begin?